From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, November 9th. Highs are only going to get into the mid-50s today, basically where we started. Although that is normal for this time of year to have highs around there. We are going to get some clear skies as the day moves on, but then at nighttime, the clouds are going to roll back in. And an agreement on Israel, disputes over Ukraine, and the absence of the frontrunner provide the headlines in the third Republican presidential debate. Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott squared off in Miami. Former President Donald Trump skipped the event. Ramaswamy split from the others on Ukraine, sharply criticizing the country's leaders and mocking its president. All five pledged support for Israel in its war with Hamas.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the job once and for all.
They have to, 1, eliminate Hamas, 2, support Israel with whatever they need whenever they need it, and 3, make sure we bring our hostages home.
The fourth Republican debate is scheduled for December 6th in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Picket lines are ending in Hollywood. The Screen Actors Guild ended its strike at 1 minute after midnight after reaching a tentative deal with the studios and streaming services. No details are out yet. Union leaders say that they'll present the agreement to the members in the days ahead for an approval vote. The writers ended their strike in September. Entertainment industry experts say it'll take several weeks for major productions to be fully up to speed. Negotiations are underway to reach a 3-day humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. The Associated Press cites several anonymous officers from Egypt and the UN who say the deal would release about a dozen hostages held by Hamas. This comes as the United States adds more pressure on Israel to create a humanitarian corridor. Pro-Palestine protests have been nationwide since the Israel-Hamas war started last month. The AP reports that the deal would enable more aid, including limited amounts of fuel, to enter the territory. The UN says about 50,000 Palestinians fled south from Gaza yesterday, the largest number of evacuees in one day so far. Israeli troops are now operating inside Gaza with the goal of destroying Hamas. One Israeli journalist says he worries the United States is stopping Israel from finishing its work.
They go very slowly because of two things. First of all, because of the Americans, to be honest. And secondly, because of the safety of the soldiers.
U.S. officials have said Hamas cannot return to rule the Gaza Strip. Charging documents are providing new details into the arrest of a woman accused of targeting the Indianapolis Jewish community. Prosecutors formally charged her yesterday with 3 felonies. The crash is being described as a hate crime. That's according to the probable cause affidavit obtained by News 8. Court records show 34-year-old Ruba Almagda is responsible for causing $10,000 in damage. She's accused of driving her vehicle into the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Now she faces charges for intimidation, criminal recklessness, and institutional criminal mischief. IMPD says she mentioned that she couldn't breathe anymore while watching the war unfold in the Middle East. That's when investigators allege she began to plan her attack. Court documents say a witness saw the car go into reverse and back into the building. The building is identified by the Jewish Community Relations Council of Indianapolis as belonging to a sect of the Black Hebrew Israelites. It's located near 34th and Keystone and has a Star of David posted. Records show witnesses heard her shout, "Free Palestine, free Palestine." All 5 people inside escaped injuries on Saturday. Her attorney said she experienced an episode possibly due to several medications and the stress of a pending divorce while caring for her 3 children. In a statement, Marion County prosecutors said that the allegations in the probable cause affidavit are extremely disturbing, and we cannot and will not tolerate hate in our community. The prosecutor's office says Indiana does not have a hate crime criminal charge. After her release, she's ordered to stay away from synagogues, temples, and other Jewish religions and cultural centers in Marion County. The jury trial is set for January 29th. In Clark County, a former sheriff faces corruption and ghost employment charges. Talking about southern Indiana here, police arrested Jamie Noel yesterday. Current Sheriff Scotty Maples says the investigation began last December after he found a wiretap in the former assistant chief's office. Maples says it was planted while Noel was in office. He also says Noel ordered employees to work at his personal properties while on duty and tried to defraud the sheriff's department pension system. Noel now faces 15 felonies. The man accused of killing a 15-year-old girl in Indianapolis is now charged with murder. prosecutors filed the charges against 34-year-old Tevis Walker yesterday. They say Walker shot and killed Janiyah Carr last month and left her body near the woods near the Carriage House East apartments on the far northeast side. Police say surveillance video connected Walker to Carr. Walker also had outstanding warrants in Florida and Georgia. ITMate reports prosecutors are deciding whether to charge a 17-year-old as an adult for firing shots at Grand Park in Westfield. Our team is digging into the details of the arrest, which we first reported on Daybreak. Investigators say the teenager was watching a youth basketball game inside the Pacers Athletic Center Sunday night, got into an argument with a coach, then followed the coach out to the parking lot and fired shots toward him. Police say the gunfire damaged several cars. The 17-year-old is facing several preliminary charges, including attempted murder and criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. A major win for Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly and Company. The FDA has approved the drug Zepbound for weight loss. It's much like the company's wildly successful Mounjaro, which is approved for diabetes but often prescribed off-label for weight. Scientists say it uses brain and stomach hormones to help people lose weight. Lilly says Zepbound will cost about $1,000 a month and be available by the end of the year. Researchers are fighting Indiana University's attempt to sever ties with the Kinsey Institute. The IU Board of Trustees is set to hear a proposal to spin off the institute into a nonprofit tomorrow. Kinsey conducts research in human sexuality. Researchers there say the move is political, pointing to a law passed in the spring barring Kinsey from receiving state funds. They say Kinsey does not actually get state dollars, but is instead funded by awards and grants. IU says if the board votes to separate the institute, the university will keep Kinsey's world-renowned collection of erotic art. Happening today, nearly 15,000 students will perform at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Bands of America Grand National Championships. More than 90 high school marching bands are competing in the preliminary rounds starting this morning at 8:15. 38 bands will move on to the semifinals, and then 12 will move to the finals on Saturday. And happening today, a groundbreaking for a new recycling facility. It's going in on Hannah Avenue between Harding Street and Bluff Road. Republic Services says it will be its second polymer center and will help keep more plastics in a cycle of recycling rather than having them end up in products that must be thrown away. The company says it'll open late next year. A local principal landed a major award, and we were there to see her reaction when she got the news in front of her students. Kendra Randall works at Emma Donnan Elementary and Middle School. The Milk and Family Foundation awarded her a $25,000 prize, praising her for her work in improving literacy and attendance at the school. It's travel day for the Indianapolis Colts as they head to Germany. The game in Frankfurt against the Patriots will be the first international game for the Colts since 2016. Kenny Moore is this week's AFC Defensive Player of the Week after returning 2 interceptions for touchdowns against the Panthers. The game kicks off Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And to business headlines, a new survey finds 83% of recent high school graduates removed colleges from consideration based on sticker price. The niche survey found the majority of students said they would not consider applying to a college with a total price before aid over $40,000 a year. Caesars Entertainment reached a deal with a culinary union to avoid a strike. MGM Resorts and Wynn Resorts are still negotiating with the union. Caesars CEO said it would be the biggest wage increase for Caesars employees in the company's 4 decades of dealing with a culinary union. $1 billion in Israel bonds have been purchased in the United States since the Hamas attack. States, cities, and small investors are behind the spike in sales. The Development Corporation for Israel, which issued the bonds, says much of the money raised will go to help rebuild communities in the south of the country that was destroyed by Hamas, who entered from Gaza on October 7th. The money will also help the Israeli government to reimburse costs incurred by hospitals that are treating the wounded throughout Israel. Blockbuster hit Barbie brought in a record $1.5 billion for Warner Brothers Discovery. However, the company also contended with an unspecified drop in revenue that it attributed to the strikes held by the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA, the union representing 160,000 actors that halted most television and movie production for months, but as I mentioned, was pretty much settled overnight, just waiting for that final approval vote. This has been your News 8 Daily 8. For Wish TV, I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.